Hey, it's Four with Playboy.
And my Playboys Bunny.
And what we're going to talk today about is girls are hardwired to avoid slut shaming.
Oh, yes.
It does not mean they won't slut it up. It means that they will avoid slut shaming at all costs.
Yeah, exactly.
They are hyper aware. And one of the classic videos is there's a guy that's kind of like a men's rights activist, I guess you'd say, one of the first ones.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a slut walk, where the girls dress up like
literally,
they're going to a
it's
rave.
called a slut walk.
And they're going to, they're celebrating being sluts or slut rights or the right to be a slut. And so he's interviewing them. And he's interviewing a lot of them. And he's like, so you're here to, for the slut walk? Yes. And, well, are you a slut? No, well, no, I'm not. I'm not a slut. I'm here to support the rights of sluts.
Yeah.
Or, no, I have a boyfriend. I love him very much.
Yes. Literally, of all the interviews we watched, which was tens at least, none of the girls would actually say, I am a slut.
Exactly. What was the closest to it was like, I'm a slut. You're a slut. She's, she was putting off the responsibility.
It was like, I'm a human. You're a human.
Yeah. We were like,
that was hilarious.
Yeah, there's a lot of mental gymnastics that go through, and that gives you an idea. These girls are on the far outlier of they'd show up to something called a slut walk and actually get in front of an interviewer. It gives you an idea how far they are from your average girl who, won't even watch a sex scene on TV. They start getting embarrassed.
And that's an important point. It really does reach every end of the spectrum with this slut shaming.
Oh, yeah.
It's the ultimate slam for one woman to call another woman a slut.
It goes slut, ugly, old.
Yeah.
Woo. That's the big three with women.
Well, and I got tickled just the other day. I was reading a book, and it was a therapist, and she was talking about, it was a female therapist. She was talking about a client that she has that really reminds her of her when she was in her 20s. And then she goes into how promiscuous this client is. And of course, this therapist author had to point out for the reader that's the only thing that she didn't see her in herself in this client.
That's interesting.
It was I was laughing out loud.
Yeah, they will.
She didn't mean for it to be funny, but it was hilarious when you know what you're looking at.
Always throw out that qualifier. Whether it's true or not is irrelevant.
It's true. Yeah.
As far as like, is she actually promiscuous? It doesn't matter.
Yeah. it's true.
Yeah, it's.
But here's the deal. And here's what I always have to remind myself with anything even similar to this is that usually if it's not true, it's not even on their radar to say. Girls,
I can see that. Girls
who are not sluts don't go, oh, and I'm not a slut.
Exactly. There's no knee jerk.
There's no need.
Well, it's kind of like a girl who's like overweight going, I eat healthy. I don't eat badly.
Yeah.
There's evidence that you do.
Right,
it's right in front of you.
Where someone who genuinely eats healthy, a lot of times it's just their way of life. They don't think about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So I would say that if they don't have anything to protect, it's not even on their radar.
Yeah. And I would say guys vastly underestimate, and using the words, how define a slut. Because every guy, for some guys, it's one guy.
Yeah.
If she's a whore.
True.
1, 10, 100. Everybody has their own number in their head. What is like out there.
What constitutes a slut.
And I always convey that these girls have slept with far more men than you know. I just, from my experiences over time.
Sure.
There's a lot of didn't counts.
Yes.
But that's why, let's say she slept with her 3 boyfriends, her high school boyfriend, her college boyfriend, her first husband. And she's actually slept with 40 guys because there were so many didn't counts in between there.
Yeah.
But you're going to find out.
That's fair.
There's 3.
Yeah.
Because they only count long-term monogamous relationships.
Yes.
Because of slut shaming.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
And it's just, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just kind of like, how deep is the slut shaming stigma? Is I think back, there was what they called like the military academy murders, and there was a kid that had gone, and they were both from the local area, and they had both gone to different military academies. This is years ago.
Yeah.
And so the guy had gone to like the Air Force, and she had gone to the Navy Academy. Well, the guy had like been seeing this third girl who was like a couple years younger, so she was still like in high school. And so the girlfriend who was, at the Navy Academy got crazy angry about it. And said, you have to make up for this, And so once they were like back at Christmas together, and they lured the third party out and said, hey, why don't you come on out and let's, we'll go run around, mess around.
Yeah.
So she climbs out of her window.
Yeah.
Like a girl will.
The high school girl.
Yeah, the high school girl. And they murdered her.
Ugh.
And what I always felt bad was the mom, they were interviewing her, and the girl had somewhat of a reputation of like, she liked boys.
Yeah.
She had like 2 or 3 boyfriends, and like she was wearing this guy's, sweatshirt or hoodie when she climbed out the window to go see him, in the middle of the night, on a school night. And she goes, I just want to say that my daughter is not asleep around.
Yeah.
And she was being interviewed. Of all the things, her biggest concern was that her daughter was not remembered as a slut or as a girl that was promiscuous.
Exactly.
And I remember that. I was like, it was such a strange thing. I remember it out of everything that was going on with that.
Yeah.
This poor woman, that was her, for whatever reason, her concern was this girl's reputation.
Yeah.
And it may be more important to the parents or the mom.
Right.
Depending on how they're raised. But again, girls are hardwired to hide men from each other, and to avoid that stigma. That's just, again, why we tell you guys, when you take a girl out on a first date or second date and you're going to close the deal, you can't just go, hey, let's go up to my apartment and fuck.
Yeah.
You have to give her plausible deniability, because she doesn't want to look like a slut.
No.
You have to go, hey, you want to come up and see my midget? Or, I've got a guitar collection.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. Because she knows. But you got to play the game.
But even a nightcap, like the old school nightcap.
I wouldn't even risk that anymore.
Exactly. That doesn't even really work.
No, because they're like, I don't know. We went up there drinking and but what she has to be able to say is, it just happened.
She wants to be able to have a story where she goes, he has this really cool guitar collection.
Yeah.
And so he invited me up just to see it, and one thing led to another, and it was just.
And we just had sex.
And it was great.
Yeah.
And then that way there's a story.
Yeah.
That she can feel good about.
Exactly. So that's why. I mean, guys get frustrated. They're like, well, why is it? It matters. And all you've got to know is that it matters enough that you won't get laid if you don't play the game.
That's right.
That's why.
Right.
Just know, I mean, that's one of those things why you cannot be that brazen. That's why flirting. That's why teasing. That's why carrying like sexual entitlement. That's why those things exist. So you can work around this slut shaming thing.
Yeah.
You can be sexual with her without it being brazen or in her face, and she can feel good about it.
Exactly.
She can laugh.
Exactly.
So
I love
that's the real deal. But it is a major component of girls' brains.
Yeah.
On a day-to-day basis.
1000%.
So keep that in mind. Keep that in your arsenal.
And I would say even in this day and age. I mean.
Oh, absolutely.
I know you can't tell that by Instagram, but all of these girls, no matter how much they show their asses or have.
Let's make a point. I mean, sure, they'll show their ass, but what have we noticed? We notice girls like that in our age group, they break up. they go through a divorce. Well, they'll post the first boyfriend. But then they're still single like 2 or 3 years later. And they've gone through 5 or 6 boyfriends. You only see the first one on social media because they realize this isn't like marriage. They're going to go through a lot of men. And every one of them, they have to go back, take him down. That only happens once, because they're like, you can't be showing you with a bunch of different dudes out, just you and him. Nobody's going to ask you out.
Well, and that reminds me. So just this weekend we went to an event. One of our clients had a boyfriend with her, a boyfriend, quote unquote. They were out on a date and they went to this event. So we took a group picture. It made it to Facebook. And I was sure not to tag her in it. And when we talked about it this morning, she said, I'm so glad. She said, because I've got a date with another guy tonight.
Exactly.
She said, and actually I like him better. This guy's just kind of a guy that I'm seeing right now, but I don't see any real potential.
And I can guarantee you, the guy from
None
Saturday
of them know
night,
each other.
Saturday night does not know men are blank. She's like going to tell him, yeah, I worked late.
Well, or I went to an event with some friends.
Yeah, a friend.
Yeah.
That's what I used to go. I'd say, does your friend have a penis? But yeah, it's a huge deal at every age.
But back to what I was
the social media,
saying
they
was,
protect it.
you could have an OnlyFans. A girl could have an OnlyFans. A girl could be an Insta thought showing her ass all over the place. And that girl is still not considering herself a slut. So just to be clear, even in this day and age, this does apply. This isn't only, my point was, this isn't only for 40, 50, 60-year-olds. This is even at those younger ages.
Yeah, my point was simply, well, you're not going to see a girl showing the 3 guys that she goes out with in 1 week on social media.
No.
It's just asking for trouble. Because pretty soon she doesn't have any dates.
Well, and keep in mind also, we talk about this quite a bit, these girls who love to travel. Somebody's taking those pictures of her on the scenic mountaintop.
Oh, yeah. And that's one thing that we always talk about travel. Travel gives girls anonymity so they can do what they want to. And there's no one around to check them or see the number of men that they're running around with. And their friends are not there. Even if they have just one friend that they're with, they generally will somewhat curtail it.
Yeah.
Anybody that can report back to harm. Yeah.
But make no mistake, there's a guy that's not in those posted pictures, but if you looked on her phone, there are selfies with the same guy.
Same place, same guy. Might be a different guy tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Make no mistake.
Yeah. They get crazy.
We're just hardwired to make sure that no one thinks anything of it.
So that's the real deal. Slut shaming is slut shaming avoidance.
Yeah.
Is a very hardwired part of women that runs through their brain constantly.
Absolutely.
So we hope that gives you some insight